All right. This isn't a delight, but it is dynamite. Guys, I'm sorry before I get started, before I rant, because I am going to rant. This show pissed me off. But I wish to apologize for not doing my NXT review. As you could hear, I am still congested. I have no fevers. I'm alright. But the congestion's there. I had a lot of sneezing yesterday and a lot of runny nose. And I just couldn't make the video. So I'm sorry. But I am able to make this video. And I'm fucking pissed. This was so dumb. Guys, understand something. I don't hate AEW. I don't. There were things here that was done well, but almost all the rest of what was done well wasn't. And we're talking about building into Double or Nothing. And to be honest, this build going into Double or Nothing, I'm not feeling it. I'm not. Because there were things here that should never have happened. Not one bit. And I'm like, okay. You're presenting us this as something incredibly important when it's not. I'm like, what the blue fuck? I don't feel it. It's not important. And you're trying to make it important is a joke. Let's start. First match of the night, which could have been in the middle or near the end of the show. Let's be honest. Something that had been anticipated for quite a while could have been near the end of a show by itself. You could have done this separately by itself and people would have wanted it. And I'm just saying that in a general sense because the way these two women work, you could have left it as an ending match. That's how good they were. That's how good they were. And you made them open the show. And that's for the Owen Hart's tournament. Mercedes Moné versus fucking Athena. I wish neither one of these women had been in the tournament. I'm being honest here. I don't want to see them in the tournament because I felt like it would be a waste that one of them had to be pinned by the other. But you stuck them at each other. Where Athena could be going after the TBS title. Or you can have Mercedes Moné go after the ROH title and combine it with the TBS title and just get rid of it. But no. You put them both together in this damn tournament, knowing full well it should not be done in a tournament. It should be done in a pay-per-view. It should be done in Double or Nothing. You should build them into a match. No. And we just got a freaking barn burner of a match that opened the damn show with no real build. Other than Billy Starks getting a butt kicked by Mercedes. And then the one who lost the match gets pissed off that she's being badmouthed by the CEO. And that angers me. I'm sorry. It makes me angry. Neither one of these women can afford to lose if they're going to really have a real match against one another. And you just put them into a damn tournament where you could have had Mercedes loss. Or you could have had Athena loss to someone else. But you got them in the same damn bracket. And you should have never gave them the same damn bracket. You should have left them at two separate brackets. And you could have had them face one another at Double or Nothing. No, you had them in the same damn bracket. The same damn side. And you let Athena lose. Even though it looked easily that Mercedes was grabbing the damn trunks. But since the camera was angled like this, and you can only see it from the side, not in the front, because if you didn't notice, they were doing a lot of side shots. What the blue fuck is that? Why were they doing side shots so damn much and not doing the hard cam? What happened to the damn hard cam? I don't understand. Hard cam is like what I'm looking at right now, just in case you don't know. The hard cam is the main camera that takes a shot of the entire ring and the majority of the fans in the arena. They refuse to use the hard cam when they should. And from Mercedes' shot, it was a side shot. And you could see her grabbing the ass and the trunks of Athena. Instead of actually showing it. And I'm like, what was the point of the damn match? Why didn't you just let Athena be on the other bracket, on the opposite side, and let her just win that, and then you could probably try and get Mercedes and Athena going against each other, double or nothing, which would have gave them both a pay-per-view, and you would have had at least someone who can go up against Owen Hart. No. Now you got Chris Statlander and whoever else I can't remember who she's going up against to see if she's going to win, because it's obvious that Chris is going to win. I don't understand. This is garbage. Next. Adam Page and oh my. Another one. Makes my eyes itch. And with my allergies messing with me, that's a lot. Josh Alexander shows up with his original music from TNA, which is his music, which is good. He was smart enough to get his own theme song. I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you making Josh Alexander go up against Hangman Page when it is obvious Hangman is going to win this? Josh is now here in AEW, and instead of giving a debut match, you make him go into the damn Owen Hart tournament and job the Hangman Page. You just blew your fucking load on Josh Alexander right now. And I'm sure people are going to say, well, look what happened with Don Callis when it was over. Kyle Fletcher came out and he tried to attack Hangman Page because he's his next opponent. And then you can see Don saying something to Josh. Josh basically nailing a Hangman Page, and then he walks away. No. That's not always how you build up a heel. That's not always how you do it. You don't give a heel an immediate loss just to be bothered with Don Callis and then do that, even with where there was no Taz there because supposedly Hook is not there now. He's injured. But the point here is this. I mean, Taz is not there because Hook looks like he's injured. He's out. But the point here is this. Not everyone is going to know who Josh Alexander is. Okay? Now, I know Josh because I've been doing reviews on him for years in Impact Wrestling and TNA before he left. I'm a reviewer. Maybe a very low... I'm like here. Compared to other viewers, I'm here. They're here. I'm like here. I know I am. But I'm still proud of the work I do whenever I can get it done. But we're still talking about everyone else, either who they haven't been watching wrestling for years, or they've never seen wrestling, they're just starting. And then there's some who sporadically looks at wrestling. And yes, there are others who will know TNA, who also looks at AEW and WWE and MLW and everything else, yes. But still, that's still not the right way to bring in someone new. You don't even give them a debut match. You just throw them into the damn tournament as a body that they know they can wrestle pretty damn well, and then let him job. That's bullshit. He didn't deserve that. He deserved his own debut match. You got more than enough people that he could have jobbed for him. And that pisses me off. That was wrong. Now, was it right for him to be dealing with Don Callis? Yes, but wouldn't it have been better that you actually built it up in the back and say, hey, Josh, it's good to see you since our time in the other company. We don't even have to say Impact Wrestling TNA because of them working with WWE. AEW doesn't want to acknowledge them now. They don't want to acknowledge them now. They can't stand to acknowledge them. But the point is, wouldn't it have been nice that you at least see Don interact with him first on Dynamite TV before he said anything? In a corner where Josh is breathing heavy. It's garbage. This is not booking. Come on. Next. Gates of Agony versus the champs. Let's make this clear. Did you actually think the Gates of Agony were going to win here? They're mainly on ROH. We rarely see them other than that one time when they began to really get somewhere when they're going up against, guess who? Counting if you even remembered the feud between them and Brian Cage, remember? Brian Cage was ejected from the Gates of Agony. I don't even know if you even remember. They had a feud with him. They lost to him. And now this is where they are now. And I'm like, do I actually believe them to even get anywhere? Nope. Did they do a good match? Of course they did. I never said either one of them couldn't wrestle. And this is what you gotta get if you don't understand. I'm not complaining against the wrestling. I'm complaining about the storytelling going with the wrestling. And pretty much, this was just this was just a body for the Hurt Syndicate. But the segment after that, not gonna lie, that was some not nice. That was some really nice meat out there. If you don't know what I mean. MJF comes out after the match was over. It was a clean match. Gates of Agony lost. The Hurt Syndicate won. MJF comes out. He's willing to say, look, I can be useful, Bobby. And one of the things I can do is get some people in the back. And he brings out a dozen or so women, which some of them were like, boom. Oh my goodness, this one woman, she had black hair. She was more boobed than anything else. Her chest was like this. Her waist was not even like this. It was just that. Just curved. She was all boob. She legitimately was just a skinny stick with a huge chest attached to it. Now, she was very pretty. Now, I'm not saying they're real. I'm not saying they're not real. But the question is, do you fucking care if they were real or not? If she lets you touch them? Think about it for a minute. They say, this is a good question. They say when a tree falls in the forest, how do you know? Is there anyone there to hear it fall or see it fall? If you haven't seen it fall or hear it fall, how do you know it fell? It's kind of the same here. You see a heavy-chested woman. How do you know they're heavy-chested unless you can see them and touch them? And like I said, it don't make a difference if they're natural or unnatural. They thick. I don't normally talk like that, I'm sorry. But it was funny to see a beautiful amount of women, including one heavy-chested woman with a very skin waist. The girl was just skinny. And she was pretty, but incredibly skinny. And I'm like, damn, she pretty. But MJF is laying it on thick. Even willing to give up his Rolex to Shelton Benjamin, who he was hoping would go. But no, the minute he saw Bobby go, no. But he made it very clear. Look, I get what I want. One of the things people know me for, I get what I want because I am MJF. But when it was when they had to talk in the back, when they were waiting for MJF with the girls in the back, because once they were tiny bit interviewed, it was very, very clear that when it came to MVP, he made it very clear to Bobby. Bobby, just give him a chance. He says, I don't like him. And Montel, he made it very clear to Bobby. Look, you're thinking with your feelings. We are the Hurt Syndicate. We do business, and he is good for business. But the moment he gets out of line, and Bobby said it himself, we hurt him. He says, there you go. He goes, legitimately, and I got that shot. I got that thumbnail. I'm sure I do. Going, and I'm probably going to say, this is dumb, but I'm going to use them as the thumbnail. You'll hear me say it. And I still got to go. But he's right. The minute that MJF gets stupid, they're going to beat the living hell out of him. And they'll be fine with it. But here's the thing. What does... We know what MJF wants. But what does MVP want? And what I think he wants is for Bobby to be champion, not really MJF. MJF can help him to get Bobby to be the champ, which I can understand. So the question's going to be, how are they going to use MJF to get Bobby to become champion without MJF realizing it? That's what I think is going to happen. Moving on. Christian and Nick Wayne. What did I think about that? I'll give it to you like this. They are trying something with Nick Wayne. And at this point, being in the patriarchy for such a long time, they need to do something with him. Kip Sabian, they ain't doing nothing with him. He's just acting like the little kid. And Nick's mom, she's just a hottie. That's what she's going to do. But the question now, that he's going to go into I believe he's going to the Super Junior tournament. He will be going. And when you see the situation where a commander, who is also, it's a Super Junior Cup, I believe? Because since I don't watch it, New Japan Pro, I don't really know. As far as I know, it's going to be a Super Junior tournament for the Super Junior Cup. He's got to face Commander, I think, this Collision Thursday. Now, understand this. It's obvious they're not doing it because they know they're going to be destroyed by WrestleMania. And they will be doing this Thursday. I will not be reviewing Collision Thursday because I will be doing TNA Unbreakable. And that's just going to be how it is. But I am curious. Maybe I'll see if I can watch it Friday, the next day. I won't review it. I'm just going to see what's going on. Because let's make this very clear. There's no point in reviewing Collision. Anytime when I did it, no one looked at it. No one really cared to look at it because they came up with the same thing as me. It's just straight matches. There's no story there. It's worse than Dynamite. So I'm not going to review it anymore. Unless something changes, there's no point. But now, let's make this very clear. What did we actually get in the final match? Trios champion. Right now, Pac is injured. He can't wrestle right now. But then, supposedly, Hook is now injured. That's the reason why Taz was not there. I'm sure of it. Taz was staying with his son, checking up and seeing how he is. That's why he was not there. That's why it was only Excalibur and Tony Schiavone. Probably next week, we'll see Taz back after we find out if Hook's alright or not. But we got... Here's the thing. So, last minute, it sucks. The replacement for Hook is Powerhouse Hobbs. The replacement for Pac, already know Jon Moxley. We have the match. Willow comes out to try and stop a Moxley from using a chair. Then we get the Bucks coming up, but then Swerve tries to stop the Bucks. And then guess what we get? We get Samoa Joe choking out Mox, and he's the one who wins the titles for the former Ops with Hobbs in it. And once he's Sabata hugging him, he walks over to Hobbs, gives him the title, put it on his shoulder, and says, "You deserve this." And he grabs his wrist and raises his hand in the air. And then the locker room clears out, and everyone is cheering because the Death Riders are not controlling the trio's title. What? What? I'm sorry. I'm going to say that again. What? Are you trying to tell me now, instead of tag team wrestling, the trios titles are more important than the tag titles, which is controlled by the Hurt Syndicate? That the trios titles are more important than the main title, that now, because, get this, Samoa Joe had choked out Moxley, he should be the one that rightfully has the right to go after Mox. And so does Swerve. This is where this was stupid. Look, it was bad enough that Mercedes and Athena had to have a match. It was bad enough that Josh Alexander had to have a match in that same damn tournament as Hangman Page and jobs to it. It was bad enough. You got a good segment with the Hurt Syndicate. You did. Do not take anything from it. I like the Hurt Syndicate trying to get MJF in there, so if I'm right, that MVP wants to use MJF to try and get near the title so he can let Bobby get it, because that's what I truly believe is best for business in mind of MVP. But then the closing of the show, which is supposed to be so important, is a trios title that one of the competitors is injured. I don't know about the other one. It looks like Hook is injured. That's why he wasn't there. That's why Taz wasn't there. 2 people were injured before the match happened. They had a whole schmoz. You bring out the Death Riders. Yes, we had that segment with Hangman Page beforehand, telling with the Bucks, we're here for you. That's the reason why we stopped Swerve. That's the reason why you are going to get what you want, and we get what we want because we're going to work with the Death Riders because we know they're better but we don't trust them and we don't like them, but we know it's the right thing to do. Now the Death Riders lost the Trios titles, which is one of the lowest tier titles in the company. Everyone is cheering that now they unlocked the Trios titles, which, let's be honest, the pairing of Powerhouse Hobbs, Samoa Joe, and Shibata is not a team. It was a last minute thing because now Hook is injured, supposedly. And this feels so forced and so stupid that they had to pour everyone out just to make it feel important. This is what happens when you don't have any writing. This is what happens when your show is just matches. One of the major problems ROH had, the major problem it had, and I don't care what anyone said, or going to say, or will say about ROH, one of the major problems it had, and it was dying by the time the pandemic happened. It was dying. The pandemic finished it, but it was dying. Why? Because they didn't know how to make themselves more palatable to a wider audience. That's the truth. Look what happened with WWE before Vince sold the damn company. It literally was not doing anything. It wasn't catering to a wide audience anymore because Vince didn't care about catering to a wider audience. He only catered to himself. Look at ROH. The same thing, was catering to a niche type of wrestling. Now look at AEW. You're trying to make it about the Trios title, where this original company was based on tag team wrestling. Then they went away from tag team wrestling, trying to be like WWE Light at one point. And then when they felt like WWE Light wasn't working and worse, controversy on top of it with, guess who? Mr. Punk. Whether you like him or not, Punk didn't cause this. This was a reaction between the Bucks and, more important, Tony. A reaction instead of an action, as I've said for years. AEW reacts. It never acts. And that's one of its major issues. This felt like a reaction. Look, what happened in the Trios title? It doesn't mean anything. It's a Trios title. Yes, it's in a storyline with the Death Riders, but it's not as important as the main title. Who was the one that was going to announce to Moxley, I'm coming for you now? Why didn't that happen? Think about this for a minute. Moxley just got choked out. He woke up and then the Death Riders had to get out of the ring. Why didn't Samoa Joe, or Swerve for that matter, grab the damn mic and say, Moxley, you just lost your damn Trios titles. I'm coming for your title. Why wasn't that done? Why? Because there's nothing here. The Death Rider storyline sucks. It worked at one point, but there was no one behind Moxley. Due to the fact of probably Shane not getting in. And then instead of using Adam Copeland, who could easily be a bad guy, he was great as an evil bad guy. Look at what happened with Judgment Day. He got everyone over. He helped them to get over before he left the WWE. Or TKO WWE. But the point is, instead of giving us a real leader behind the Death Riders, we didn't get anything. And now, what do we have? Trios title are done, and everyone's celebrating like it's the main title, which is not. No one announced they're coming after Moxley. Not Swerve Strickland, not Samoa Joe, who choked his ass out. He choked him out. Shouldn't it be Joe that should be going after that title next? Why didn't he say something? They were just cheering. This show was stupid. I'm saying it, but it's just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.